Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social in association with William Hill and Empire Fight Store. Always a pleasure. I feel a bit weird calling you my coach because I'm not really a fighter. Yes. But you take me on the pads and we have a good laugh together. Mr. Richard Farnan, how are we?
Very well. Very disappointed that Eddie called you in yesterday, so ruined our plans for a training session last night. But we'll get it done. We'll get it done soon. Maybe next week at Wembley.
Yes, maybe next week at Wembley. Maybe daytime tomorrow, or oh no, I might not even be here daytime tomorrow. So
you're slacking, son. You're slacking. But we'll get it on soon. We'll get it on.
We're here. Tom Brennan's just weighed in. He's in a Southern Area Eliminator tomorrow night on a Nielsen show. Just your thoughts. I know you've had a good couple of weeks with him now. Excited to be able to be back with him and working with him tomorrow night?
Yeah, it does. I was with Tom at the start of his career, so we had his first 3 fights together. And then he asked me 3 to 4 weeks ago if I could finish his camp with him and take him through this fight, and then hopefully we get through this fight in good fashion, which I believe we will, and then we move on to the Southern Area. So yeah, it's exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing Tom fight again and hopefully put a lot of what we've worked on, it's only a short period of time, into practice, which I'm sure we will. And we've got a plan, we'll stick to the plan, and we'll see what happens.
I know when you're sort of at Tom's calibre and you're 4-2, it's a bit of a hard sell. Sometimes you've got to force yourself into these opportunities, so he's really got to try and grab tomorrow with both hands, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we've come up with the plan of what we've seen of his opponent, etc. Kind of believe I've worked him out, and then we'll take him into the trenches and we'll see what he's got when he gets into the trenches, because I don't think he'll have it in him. So I think Tom will be able to dominate certainly the second half of the fight, but we'll see how we start on this one tomorrow. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we look forward to that as well. As I was just saying to Mark there, such a great venue for boxing in the southwest. We're able to sort of be in a position where we can see it at its best, but there's a lot more that it needs to sort of come on here in the southwest. But them nights at the Mecca, a special feeling for everyone. Nice for me and you to have a show at home.
Absolutely, it's a rarity for me to have a show at home these days. But yeah, it's nice. I can actually walk to this venue. It's just that's the privilege. But no, the Mecca's taken over from back in the day when it used to be the Oasis. The Oasis was the place where all the pro shows were, and the white collar shows, etc. And the Mecca's come into its own recently, and it's a fantastic venue. It's not a huge venue, but when it's busy, it's an electric atmosphere in there, and that's all you ask for, and especially on small hall shows, is to have an absolutely buzzing, electrifying atmosphere, and that's what you're going to get at the Mecca Saturday night. So it's always good.
Rich. Luis Alberto Lopez, you had a fantastic night with him in Belfast. Now, I love the Conlan, and I've got to be unbiased in my job, but I'm going to sit here and say to you right now, I was desperate for Mick to win, I told you that. But, a great family, and commiserations to them for the loss. I know that would have been a hard one to take. And I know you reiterate the same message, you sort of spoke to them briefly throughout the week, but what a night I imagine you must have had with the Mexican. Yeah,
I mean, it was an incredible fight. Going into the fight, I think we all knew that it was a 50-50 fight. Mick's got the Olympic quality. He's a fantastic boxer. And we've got Venado, who I now look at Venado. He's like the modern-day Prince Nassim Hamid. He leaps in with them shots. He's very heavy-handed in both hands. He's not going to stand there and try and box your head off. He's going to stand there and try and knock your head off. He's not going to box you. He's going to everything he throws with passion, and he throws with that viciousness that you expect from a world champion. And certainly the first couple of rounds, Mick boxed very, very well, and it took that time for Venado to work him out, and then he worked him out. He got closer, and as he got closer, he started to land the bigger shots. And it was the third round he hit Mick with a couple of good shots which hurt him, and to be honest with you, I don't think he recovered from that third round. And then when that final cluster of shots came in, like a lot of people are sort of saying, oh, look at the uppercut, have a look at the 2 shots he landed before that. He threw a left hook that caught Mick on the temple, then he threw a right hand that came round sort of behind the glove onto the ear, and then as Mick dipped, then he threw the uppercut. But it was a devastating finish. The most reassuring thing is Mick was okay, because there was a couple of bits at the end there where he had to be sat on the stool, had to have the oxygen, and think, oh no, just be okay, because he's been a fantastic, and he still is a fantastic boxer, an absolute legend for what he's done in his career. Like the whole Conlan family are a wonderful family, great people to work with, such nice people as well, and it's sometimes sad to see a fighter go out like that. But on my Team Lopez hat, what a finish, what a fight. And the atmosphere in there, in Belfast, same as what it would have been sort of in Dublin, but in Belfast, that atmosphere, I think it was 8,500 people there, was unbelievable. You, in the corner, I had one of his coaches, Juan, in front of me. He's on the steps in front of me. I'm having to shout at him for him to be able to hear me, especially like when I saw the towel coming, because Juan didn't see that at first. And I'm screaming at him to listen to me. Couldn't hear, because the crowd was so loud. I mean, it was literally, your hairs are standing on you. It's like, whoa, wow, you know, the ring walk. I mean, it's such a great night. It's such a fantastic atmosphere. Everybody in Belfast welcomed us. You know, it was unbelievable. And the finish was just the icing on the cake, to be fair.
You've done many the special occasion in boxing and atmospheres. Where does that one stand?
That was definitely up there. Definitely up there. Yeah, there's been many. I mean, hard pressed to beat Clarissa Shields against Savannah Marshall, just for the whole entirety about the you know, the first ever women's show, but selling out the O2, 20,000 people. Yeah, that was electric. Yeah, I've had many amazing nights. Thankfully, I'm very, very privileged to have that here and abroad. But you know, there's more to come.
There are more to come. Talk about more to come. Next week, you're with Chev Clarke, a highly touted prospect. Another fight under the Matchroom banner, progressing very 'nicely. Quite small in the current day and age, actually, for a cruiserweight. I think he's only about 5'10". A lot of the cruiserweights now are, you know, 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" even, but can certainly hang with the big dogs. I know you work with him time and time again now. Happy to be able to work with a guy like Chev?
Yeah, absolute privilege to work with Chev, because it was an honour when his coach Sam Mullins approached me and asked if I'd be available to be his cut man. And then from the first day I met him, there's a photo online, so I got a photo. You just see, and instantly there's just a photo of us just laughing together. And like, he's such a good vibe and atmosphere. He's so chilled, such a lovely fella. But the skills are just there. And I think people are appreciating the fact that not only is he a very skillful fighter, he's very explosive and he's got very, very heavy hands. I mean, you even see on that last fight, they brought I think the guy was from originally Puerto Rico, but he's based in Los Angeles, and he was in great shape. You know, that was Chev's first 10-round fight, in his 5th fight, and he's dropped the guy 3 times, and he was hurting the guy. The guy knew how to survive, but you're looking at the quality of Chev, and it's an absolute privilege to work with him. But what a guy to work with. The whole team is relaxed, it's fun. When it's business time, it's serious time, you know, and that's how it should be. And it's an interesting fight next weekend, because he's got David Jameson, and I know David from when we spent the time up in Glasgow, and he's a good fella, Dave. But it's going to be a good one for Chev. This one, it's going to be a good test. I think, with not being disrespectful to David whatsoever, because I like the guy, he's a very, very nice guy. I don't think he'll see the end of this fight. I think Chev's too powerful, too explosive, and he's got that amateur pedigree when he was at GB, you know, so he's got a bit of everything. But what an exciting fighter! And I think he's taller than 5'10". He's taller than me. I'm 5'11". So I'm
certainly taller than me, but a lot of people are.
Yeah, most people are taller than you, especially in your weight category right now. You've got to get some of that timber off you.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, right, get on the scales. We've got scales here. Oh, look, they're right behind you.
I didn't do this interview to be fat-shamed, Rich.
I'm not fat-shaming you. I'm not fatophobic. Yet. Get on the scales then.
Boxing Social PG. 18-plus interview, not available for kids.
Yeah, get that timber off, come on. But no, it's great. I've also been asked if I can work the cuts for Katie Healy on that night, and she's fighting world title obviously with Nina Hughes, so it's another good fight. So yeah, it's all fun. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to tomorrow night. That's the first task, and then we move on to next week. Second task is Chev.
2 back-to-back exciting weeks. Just 2 more from me on the world of boxing as a whole. Yesterday, circulations of interviews coming out regarding Fury and AJ. I say it time and time again on interviews, and I feel a bit bad, and you'll be able to see my face behind the camera. It just sort of does my head in a little bit now. The back and forth, it just goes on and on and on, doesn't it? Do you even care anymore?
No. Tyson Fury's a great fighter. I've met him numerous times. He's a really nice guy. But all of this, I'm bored. just bored now. Just get it on. If you want to fight, just fight. Well, there's no need to be back and forth and trying to negotiate these. Yeah, I know you've got to negotiate the best possible deal for you, but it gets to a point where it's just like, do you actually really want to fight? Because you're naming everybody right now as potential opponent. Nothing is sealed. I think I saw an interview that, I don't know if you did it, but I saw an interview with Eddie the other day saying it's just an absolute rubbish. We've not had a contract. So why are you talking about we've sent you a contract? It's just like, we're all tired of the bullshit. Just fight. Christ. I'm bored of it.
Can you understand why Team AJ and 258 are going to carry on with their current plan of Dillian Whyte in August and then Deontay Wilder in December and not hold out for anything in this Fury stuff just because I think their side is too flaky and unreliable?
100%, yeah. Just carry on with what you want to do. Team Joshua, just do what you want to do. Progress there. If something concrete comes through, then maybe you have to look at it. But up until that point, make your own plans, because we all know that it could fall apart at the last minute with Fury. It's bizarre. I don't understand why. So, yeah, I'll go Dillian Whyte and then Wilder. Why not? Because at least then you've got 2 guaranteed fights.
Just quickly from me then, it looks like Eubank Jr Benn is on, or it looks like it's very close. Abu Dhabi, I believe, is the targeted venue for that one. I think we'd all be lying morals and everything to one side. We're going to watch the fight, aren't we, as boxing fans? Do you think it is right?
We don't know what the conclusion of the test. Not for me to go into it because I don't know anything. I've always believed, there's a massive side of me that believes that Conor is innocent. There is a massive part of that, and I also, there's the other side thinking, well, there's no smoke without fire, but that aside, he'll probably end up being the most tested athlete there is. So if he passes all these tests, let's get the fight on. Be a fascinating fight, be a great fight. And of course I'll watch it. I'll be there glued to watching it, because at the end of the day, no matter what people may think, he's a great fighter. He is a great fighter. He's exciting, he's explosive, he's vulnerable. His dad was like one of my boxing heroes. And his dad, we all knew that when Nigel got clipped, he did the funny dance, but then that was his most dangerous time. And you see that with Conor. And I think, no matter what, everybody needs to see Conor Benn back fighting. Whether morally it's right or it's wrong, that's down to our own individual opinion. But at the end of the day, we want to see him fight, and we want to see him in a fight like the Eubank fight. So why not?
Well, Richard Baldy Locks Farnan, always a pleasure. Just a final message ahead of this Saturday and Saturday in general. I suppose with Spence Crawford, and we had Tank Garcia this year, and then maybe Joshua Wilder towards the end of the year. We can't complain. We always complain that the big fights aren't happening, but this year it seems pretty good. Boxing's winning. And of course next weekend we've got Lopez Taylor as well. So there's some great fights on the horizon, and the only winner is the boxing fan and the actual boxers, because we do complain about it at times, but there are big fights, and the big fights do happen. And we've already had an amazing year so far, and we're only halfway through, so bring it on. Richard Farnan, top man, thank you for speaking to us at Boxing Social.